Hi, I'm Sally Dean, the new prison officer. Oh, training officer.
And apart from your actual duties, I would like you to keep in mind that the emphasis at Wentworth is on rehabilitation, not punishment.
Yes, Mrs. Davidson.
Now, I see from your file that your induction course was at Pentridge. There will be a number of differences.
Oh, yes. Well, after all, it's much smaller, isn't it? And I'll be dealing with women, not men.
Don't underestimate the women, Sally. They can be just as difficult. But remember, they are human beings, not... Come in.
Yes, Mrs. Davidson?
This is Sally Dean, Sally Vera Bennett.
Hi.
How do you do?
Now, as a trainee, you would be aware that you must be accompanied by a fully qualified officer at all times. Miss Bennett will supervise you.
Right.
Then I suggest you go along with Miss Bennett and have a look at the prison, and she will explain the routine as you go. And remember, without undermining discipline, the women do respond to respect and kindness if you give them a chance.
Of course, Mrs. Davidson, I understand.
I hope you will have a pleasant, or rather a fruitful stay at Wentworth.
Does that mean you don't agree with what Mrs. Davidson said?
It's all very well to talk about rehabilitation, but you've got to have the raw material to work with. None of these women are interested in improving themselves.
Well, yes, we were taught that a lot of prisoners return to jail time and time again.
What do you think you're doing? Stand to attention when an officer speaks to you. Rule 2A, paragraph 3. All prisoners must be accompanied by an officer at all times. And the punishment is? Loss of privileges for 48 hours. Now put that cigarette out. Pick it up. As well as loss of privileges, you'll be on garbage duty for the rest of the week. Now get back to work.
Wasn't that a bit harsh?
Harshness is the only thing these animals understand.
What have we here?
Yes, who is your new chum?
Don't be insolent, Bryant.
Sorry.
This is Miss Dean, a trainee officer.
Well, how do you do, Miss Dean? I'm B. Smith, Queen Bee. But then I suppose Vera's already told you that.
That's enough, Smith. Another word out of you.
I know, and you'll slap me in the pound so fast. Have a heart, Vera. I've just come out of hospital. I'm not a well woman.
Then get back to work.
Like I said at Smoko. Have to learn the rules around here, like who calls the shots, for instance.
That's right. They don't call her Queen Bee for nothing.
I won't warn you again, Bryant.
All right, girls, back to work. You know, I knew the department was desperate, but I didn't know they were that desperate.
The next shift starts in half an hour. You'll find me in reception.
Why did you enroll in the course? Is there something that you've wanted to do for a long time?
Oh, not exactly. I guess I just fell into it.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, well, I had a series of dead-end jobs, and I was unemployed for a couple of months, and then I just read an advertisement for prison officers, and here I am.
Yes, well, I suppose if you don't like it, you can always leave.
Did I say something wrong?
Jim's a career officer. He thinks you should have a vocation for the job rather than taking it on as a last resort. Besides, they're all quite worried about Meg Morris. Apparently, it's quite serious.
Oh, yes, I know, but... Oh, that's not what I meant. I mean, given half a chance, I could make a really good officer and make a very real contribution, you know?
I'm sure you will.
It's just that Mrs. Davidson says one thing, and then Miss Bennett says...
Say that the prisoners were animals and should be treated as such.
Well, yes.
Well, that's just one point of view. I see them as... Well, they're just like us, except they're caught on the wrong side of the law.
It's a big difference.
Not really. They've got exactly the same needs as us, to be cared about, to be respected. And I believe it's our job to make sure that happens. So stay with it.
Well, fancy finding you when you're lonesome.
Smith, isn't it?
That's right. Thought you would have broken out of Wentworth by now.
Don't be insolent.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. I just wondered how they were treating you.
Inmates are to be escorted by an officer at all times. You know that, Smith.
You can hold my hand if you like.
How dare you?
Now, listen, love. It is after work. All the other girls are in the rec room. I am going to my cell. Now, I am allowed to go from there to here, unescorted. Pays to know the rules, doesn't it?
Well, just get along to your cell, then.
And if I don't?
I can have you charged with disobedience.
Oh, what will I get for that?
I can have you sent to solitary confinement for 2
But
days.
I'm not a well woman, Miss Dean. I have just come out of hospital. I don't think Mrs. Davidson would approve of you putting me in the pound. So, what's it to be?
Just get about your business, please.
What are you doing in here?
Oh, just having a cup of coffee.
You've got 15 minutes before you sign off. You should be with an officer learning your job.
Well, I tried to find you, Miss Bennett, but I didn't know what to do. I ran into B. Smith in the corridor and, well, I tried being firm, but she just laughed at me, so I decided to come back in here and wait for someone to tell me what to do.
The first thing you do is never let an inmate get the upper hand. I've already told you that. If you let them see that you're afraid or weak, you might as well forget being an officer here and now.
But it's only my first day.
I was younger than you when I first started, but I managed to put these women in their place, and on my first day. You've got to be hard on them, and you've got to mean it.
Yes, Miss Bennett.
Andrews! We want Andrews!
If you've got anything to discuss, you'll discuss it with me!
We want Andrews! We want
Stay here, keep an eye on them.
Liam, you can't leave me.
Pull yourself together. They're not going to do anything. Just report to me if there's any trouble. I'll be in the staff room.
We want Andrews!
Floss. Want to join us for our little picnic?
Yeah, you can't have a picnic without a blowfly.
Don't speak to an officer like that. I'll put you on report.
Today
You're so tough, you scare me stiff.
why don't you go leg to old Bennett?
God, you're as weak as water. We want Andrews! We want Andrews! We want Andrews!
You know why they asked for you?
No idea, unless they want me as a go-between.
Smith doesn't need a reason to cause trouble.
Well, what is it?
They're getting worse, shouting, calling me names.
Miss Dean, you were told to stay outside. A little bit of abuse won't hurt you.
If Mr. Andrews doesn't get out there soon, they're furious.
You ready? All right, let's go.
You've got no idea what it's like out there.
No! She's got a knife! Stop her, Miss Bennett!
Stop or I shoot, Gaffney!
She's all right.
Well, have you had enough now? Well, get back inside.
It was a stick. A lousy, bloody stick. You know, kid, you are getting too dangerous to have around.
I don't expect probationers to have the presence of mind of experienced officers, but I do expect them to show a certain amount of common sense and control.
I didn't know it was a stick, Mrs. Davidson.
You didn't know it was a knife either. You panicked. Fortunately, Miss Bennett was experienced enough to handle the situation, but you could have been responsible for a very serious accident. I realize you are under a certain amount of strain, so I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. But your conduct had better improve. Is that clear?
Yes, Mrs. Davidson.
I want to see all those involved in the strike in the recreation room, Miss Bennett. And would you let Mr. Andrews know that I want to see him?
There is one more thing, Mrs. Davidson. Miss Dean claims Smith threatened her.
Oh? What did she say?
Well, it was more the way she said it. She said I was too dangerous to have around.
Yes, well, under the circumstances, I can hardly blame her. You'd better make sure you remain with an officer at all times, just to be on the safe side. Thank you, Miss Bennett.
What do you think you're doing here?
Oh, good day, Miss Bennett. I was just seeing who you'd locked up.
I'll let you handle this, Miss Dean.
Oh, but
it's about time you took a bit of responsibility on your shoulders. Don't worry, you won't have any trouble with her. And the others are locked in the laundry.
Trap, is it?
You can call me Mouse if you like.
Aren't you supposed to be in the recreation room?
Oh, I must have taken a wrong turn. Oh, I'm only new in here, see? Like you.
Don't talk rubbish. She's been in and out of here since she was 17.
Any more games like that, and I'll have you scrubbing the floors.
Yes, miss.
Go on, off you go. I'm not a fool, Trap. You'd better remember that.
Yes, Miss Dean.
And you can tell your friends that I'm not the sort of officer who puts up with any nonsense.
Yes, Miss
If any
Dean.
of you step out of line just once, well, you'll find out how hard I can be.
Yes, Miss Dean.
Oh, And I expect the same sort of respect that you show Miss Bennett.
Oh, yes, Miss Dean.
Her husband Tom has gone to jail.
After her husband Tom has gone to jail,
Joy finds perfect love in the arms of Jim.
Joy finds perfect love in the arms of
She's
Jim.
never going to remember all that.
She'll do it. But listen, if you do get past Andrews, you've got to promise me you're going to keep on studying, okay?
Yeah, sure. Well, listen to me. You don't want to do too good a job either. You got to make it sound real. Stumble over a few words now and then, okay? Otherwise, Andrews will be on to you.
Oh, good, I caught you. The women are planning to make a fool of Mr. Andrews. Should I tell Mrs. Davidson?
What?
Well, they're making that Baxter girl learn passages out of a book. They want to prove that she can learn to read without Mr. Andrews.
And I suppose one of the women told you?
No, they didn't know I was listening. They couldn't see me. I was going to tackle them about it, but I thought I should tell Mrs. Davidson first.
That was a good move.
Is she still here?
I think we'll let them have their fun first. I'll tell Mrs. Davidson when the time's right.
Oh, but...
Go on.
Well, it's just that she doesn't think very much of me at the moment. And I
I'll
thought
see
that...
she knows you're responsible. You're learning, Miss Dean. Nice work.
Wagger! You killed Wade! You Wade! Just stand there! Bitch! Bloody! What you do as you're told!
Get Baxter to the laundry and make sure you lock the gate.
Oh, that won't be creep! You'd have been patted down!
You're not as smart as you all think you are, you know.
Now, where have I heard that line before?
I think she's been listening to Vinegar too much.
Yeah, I reckon we ought to call her Vinaigrette.
Go ahead, but don't underestimate me. Stumble over a few words, otherwise Andrews will be onto you. Isn't that what you said?
How'd you know that?
I overheard you talking. You'd all better be a bit more careful of me in the future. Now get on with your work.
Bitch!
You know, she's more stupid than I thought she was.
She scares me too. I mean, almost getting Margot shot. We got to get rid of her, Bee.
Oh, she's so keen on eavesdropping. Maybe we should give her something she can really listen to.
Oh, when Mike came to visit me, he slipped me some stuff.
You mean you planted it in the library?
Yeah, I made a false spot in one of them pottery things, and I stashed it there.
What of all the nongs? How are we going to get it back if we're not going to Andrew's classes?
Oh, forget about it. It'll be safe enough. All we have to do is wait until Andrews is sincere.
Look, Burns, can you stop asking stupid questions and get into work?
Excuse me, Miss Bennett. I've got to go somewhere. It's important.
Oh, all right.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
You have been here 3 days, Miss Dean, and frankly, I expected more of you. You have been told repeatedly to refer everything to a senior officer.
I wanted to prove I could do a good job.
The women were testing you, Miss Dean, and you fell for the oldest trick in the book. Usually, they only let officers hear what they want them to hear.
In all fairness, Mrs. Davidson, I was taken in too. The library was left unlocked.
I'm well aware of that, Mr. Andrews. I do not like the inmates thinking my staff are fools.
But why would they want me to destroy all their work?
It's a way of getting at me.
And they used a member of staff to do it. I do not want to appear harsh, Miss Dean, but unless your work improves, I can only assume you are totally unsuited to hold the position.
The thing you've got to be on your guard against most is the women. They're inveterate liars. The moment you start to think of them as normal human beings, they've got you. They're animals. Treat them that way and they won't be able to play their little games.
I suppose so.
The best way to learn how to handle them is to watch someone who knows the job. I'll help you all I can. Just keep an eye on the way I do things. And remember what I said. Don't ever expect them to behave like human beings. They're not. What do you think you're doing, Birdsworth? Get out of that bed.
Just coming, Miss Bennett. I was lying here thinking about this dream that I had. Oh, good. It was lovely.
What do you think this is, a holiday camp? Now get out of there.
I said I was coming. I was thinking about this
No
cream.
one is interested, Birdsworth. When you're told to move, move.
God! What have I done?
Come on, Lizzie. You're too old for those sort of dreams anyway.
Remember, all property must be signed for by the prisoners when it's confiscated. After all, we don't want them accusing us of stealing from them when it comes time for them to leave. Now, don't worry about today. You shouldn't have anything more to contend with than just some visitors. So you get to writing up those reports, and I'll leave you to it.
If you need a hand with anything, just let me know.
Oh, thanks. I should be all right.
Good morning.
Yes, may I help you?
Oh, yes. My name's Ivy Butcher. I've come to see Lizzie Birdsworth.
Oh, just a moment. The prisoner hasn't had any other visitors this week. What is your relationship to Birdsworth?
Oh, how foolish of me. I'm from the Volunteer Prison Visitor Service. I have my card here somewhere.
Right, everything seems to be in order. If you could just sign the visitor's book and then go out to the garden, someone will bring her out to you.
Good. Thank you.
Reception.
Do you know where it is?
Yes, I think so. Thank you.
Yes, right away. The parole board is ready to see Baxter now.
Oh, well, I'll see to it. Can you manage by yourself while I'm away?
Yes. Can I manage by myself while she's away?
Come on, Birdsworth. We haven't got all day. Oh, and Baxter's wanted in the governor's office. The parole board is meeting. Oh, and by the way, Mrs. Davidson said it's no longer necessary to lock the laundry.
Well, that's a relief. Hey, Georgie, the parole board wants to see you.
Bonza, Georgie, you give 'em hell.
Stay cool.
All right, that's enough. There's no need for all this noise. It only concerns Baxter.
Blanket.
Did you say something, Birdsworth?
Nothing, Miss Dean.
Would you take Lizzie down to reception and organise her visit, please? Right, everybody, back to work.
Well, well, looks like Meg doesn't like her any more than we do.
You know, we all think you're a big joke acting like Vera and looking exactly like you do, like a stupid little kid.
I'll forget you said that this time. Now just get onto the laundry. I'll be in to check on you, so no games.
Oh, and I had such big plans too.
I see you finally arrived, Burns.
I've been here for some time. Of course, I would have been here earlier, but I got held up by somebody in the corridor.
What are you up to, Birdsworth?
Here we go again.
Did you say something, Burns?
Nothing, Miss Dean, just trying to get on with our work.
We'll see that you do. Otherwise, I can arrange some extra duties for you.
Ah, Miss Dean. Miss Bennett's looking for you down the corridor. Sounded pretty important.
Right, get back to work, all of you. What is it?
I beg your pardon?
You sent for me. Smith said it was important.
Oh, you still haven't learned. You can never trust these women.
Those bitches. I'll teach them.
Screw.
All right, Smith, what's the idea?
What idea?
You know damn well Miss Bennett didn't want to see me. What's so funny, Burns? Right!
All right, Burns, that's enough.
Me? I didn't do anything. She was going to bash me.
Yeah, who does she reckon she is? She's always getting at people for nothing at all.
She's an officer, that's who she is. And you're all prisoners.
And we've just about had it up to the eyeballs. If someone doesn't do something about her, there's going to be trouble.
That's enough,
I'll
Smith.
handle this.
But it's just...
Wait outside.
I didn't do anything, Miss Bennett. She came for me.
The way she spoke to me in the corridor before, and then to be made a fool of by Smith, sending me on that wild goose chase to see you, I just lost control.
That's no excuse. You don't hit a prisoner, ever.
But they were...
I don't care how they talk to you. What did you expect? Sweetness and light? They're animals, and you never lose control in front of them. Understood?
I'll never get the hang of this job. I just don't know where to start. I wish I were more like you. You're so in control.
You'll get used to it.
I have been trying to watch you and do things the way you do, but it doesn't make any difference. I still keep making mistakes.
Next time you have a problem, come and talk it over with me. I'd be glad to give you advice.
Will there be any trouble over what happened in the laundry, do you think?
There would have been if anyone else had seen you. Luckily, I was the only one, so it'll be all right. If you're not busy tonight, you're welcome to come for dinner. We could talk a little bit more about how things work in here.
Oh, that'd be really nice. I'd love to come. I haven't had much of a social life lately.
Good. Well, we can leave together after work. We finish at the same time.
I don't think I'm going to make a very good officer. I try, but I just seem to muck everything up.
Is there anything else you'd like to do?
You don't think I'll be very good either, do you?
Perhaps you've got the wrong kind of personality for this work.
That answers my question.
I don't honestly think you've got the self-discipline for it. Well, there are lots of other things you can do. This job takes your time. Your whole life has to revolve around it. Would you be happy living like that?
If I could do it well, I know I would be. You are.
Of course. But it suits me.
Have you ever wanted to do anything else?
No. I've never wanted to do anything else.
I'm not going to adjust, I can tell. And I have tried. Honestly, I have. I just don't know how to handle the women. Miss Bennett's tried to show me, and I've tried to watch the others and see how they handle things, but all it's done is confuse me.
Don't you think that's rather natural in the beginning?
The women find it very easy to make a fool of me.
Well, that's just something you'll have to learn to guard against.
I want to hand in my resignation.
Well, that's a very drastic move. After all, you haven't been here very long.
I've been here long enough to know I want to resign.
I understand how you feel, but why don't you take a day or two to think it over?
Look, I don't need any time to think about it. I just want to leave. I can't stand in here anymore. I'm sorry. I've got to go.
You're in a bit of a hurry, aren't you?
Get out of my way.
Okay, keep your shirt on.
You and your mates can find someone else to pick on in future. I'm through.
You can't play much, you know. Maybe none of this would have happened if you'd treated us with a bit of respect. Okay, we're all here in prison, but there are some decent people here. If you hadn't have pushed us, love, we wouldn't have pushed you.
Decent? I just want to get out of here.
Yeah, don't we all? I just wish it was so easy for the rest of us.